Welcome to the On the Contrary podcast with Emilio Tobias. That is the name we're going by now. I know previously I asked us to do a poll on the name that we're going with. No one voted, so I just decided that will be the name. The On the Contrary podcast with Emilio Tobias. Welcome, guys. Thank you if you listened to the previous one. I think like one or two people did. The analytics isn't back yet, but if you're listening to this, thank you very much. If you listen to the last one, you will notice that the audio is significantly better. I bought my equipment, I bought my mics, I bought my recorders. So hopefully you guys are listening, because I could have bought a PlayStation with this money. So if you are listening, thank you for not making me feel like I wasted a lot of money on this thing. But like I said previously, this is more therapy for me than anything. On the contrary, as the name suggests, um, uh, will contain a lot of stuff that might not be cohesive or go with popular opinion. And it's not that I go out of my way to disagree with people. It's just that when I do disagree, I do say something. I am working on being able to just keep quiet when something doesn't concern me. Trust me, I'm trying, and believe me, I'm working on it. But for those of you who are still listening, please know that I love and respect you. So, as the title would probably suggest, you came here to find out why did I fart oil on Human Rights Day? Like, why did I literally have oil coming out of my bum? So, before I get there, there's a whole lot of stuff I want to talk about first. But I'll explain it. It's a good enough story, I think. Especially if you've never farted oil before, and if you want to know what not to do to end up like me. But this thing happened to me twice. Uh, but I'll explain to you all nicely what happened and why did I do it again. Anyway, a thing that's been getting on my nerves since the last time we spoke is load shedding. And I hate to be the one talking about load shedding, because it's not the actual load shedding that I hate. I hate the people who are making load shedding jokes. Not because I think load shedding is something so sacred that shouldn't be joked about, but because the jokes are so bad. Oh, yo, brah. Stage 15 load shedding means that ESCOM comes into the Bible to the part where God said, let there be light. What? Stage 8 load shedding is when ESCOM comes to your house and blows out your birthday candles. Stage 5 load shedding is when ESCOM kills light skinned people. Like, these jokes are so dumb. They're better than the ones from the week before. Like, I was at the gym the other day, and I'm not bragging. It just happened. I'm doing arm curls, and the lights just went off, and almost immediately, everyone immediately knew it was load shedding. I knew it was load shedding. In this place where everyone was kamastag, so quiet. And kamastag, what does kamastag mean? Kamastag is like, in this place where people were apparently so quiet, all of a sudden, one of the fat guys there, he's been jumping for like 2 weeks now, shouts out load shedding. And immediately he made a new friend, because now him and another fat guy just started making jokes about jamming in the dark and load shedding. Yeah, I don't know. And it's not because I'm a comedian. Sometimes we hear jokes that are like just not worth saying. And I know sometimes I'm the one making those jokes. But guys, we cannot just be, the punchline of the joke cannot be the word load shedding. The punch, like, people's jokes aren't even, it's, the punchline isn't the fact that there's load shedding. The punchline is people are literally happy to say the word load shedding because they learned something new. And yes, load shedding is a new thing to South Africa. We first had it in 2009. That's when we learned about it, and that's when I hoped that the load shedding jokes would end. Really, I'm tired of load shedding jokes. I'm really tired of load shedding jokes. People like the people who are making this, who load shedding is such a big thing for. They are people who never had power outages growing up. This was a this was a common thing, especially if you lived in a township. I grew most of my like half of my childhood. I grew up in Soweto. Most people who know me know this because I have like a lot of cool stories from Soweto. Thing is, grew up in Soweto, and the funny story is half of the problem, or half of the reason we're having load shedding is because of Soweto. Because people in Soweto don't pay for electricity. They say half of the debt, which is about 17 billion rand, half of the debt owed to ESCOM is the small place in Gauteng called Soweto. And the thing is, people are like, how can these people not pay? These people are irresponsible. Why don't they just cut their power off? Because you cut our power off, we'll burn the place. And you think it's our fault or whatever. But no. There was a time, I think I was in grade 3, when our electricity went out for 2 to 3 months. It came back like once or twice for a few days, but we had no electricity for 2 months straight. Now, I can't remember if it was like no electricity during the day or if it was no electricity throughout. But, and it's not even like we didn't pay. We paid our electricity. It was like there was something that blew up somewhere, a transformer or a power station. Understandably so. But if this was anywhere outside of Soweto, that thing would have been fixed much quicker. Because we don't have the advantage of white people complaining on our behalf. And that's not their fault. That's probably our own fault in some way. Why we don't have white people in Soweto. They actually are. One or two. There are white people in Soweto now. I saw a white beggar in Soweto. In White City at Crossroads. If anyone knows Soweto, you know what I'm talking about. There's a white beggar there. I don't know if he's still there. I saw him there a few years ago. So our power went out for 2 months. So like, don't come tell me about load shedding. If the power is gone, the power is gone. And yes, it's inconvenient, especially last week when I went to the traffic department and load shedding and the system was down officially. I saw a funny story where some analyst or consultant was on ENCA saying that families should take this time during load shedding to bond, to play games, and to use the opportunity to get to know each other and stuff like that. There, yeah. Let me, if you and your father, or maybe that's too specific, and if you and your family can't bond in the light, you all are not gonna bond in the dark. Do you know how I'm just imagining my father trying to bond with me as a kid in the dark, just because there's load shedding and we have nothing to do. Now he decides he's gonna bond with us. Hey, bruh, if the lights go off, we might decide we're gonna go sleep. People go sleep. Light candles. Hey, you haven't washed yet. Sorry. We make a fire in the coal stove. We boil the water, and you wash. Then we all go sleep. Bonding in the dark. That's so awkward. Now you're playing hide and seek with your father now all of a sudden because there's no electricity. No, guys. If your father was unsociable in the light, oh my word, the dark is not gonna change anything. So that was a dumb idea. And it's rough in Soweto. Like, it's not even just electricity. There was a time we never had water for months. We never had water for months. There was one tap in the community where everyone could go. I think it was at the school where everyone could go and get water. Um, we had to like store water in the house to keep, because actually the water would come back for one day once a week, but this happened for months. Even after the water had come back properly, my grandmother still had a habit of storing water under the tables with like 25-liter uh, paint tins. Even years after that happened, they always made sure that there was water, just in case water stopped. So screw whoever's in charge of those things. Like, I don't think people from Soweto should feel obligated to pay for the electricity. Let these people have load shedding a little bit. You'll promise us free electricity and water. So if we can't pay for it, it's like school fees. If you can't pay for it, they can't kick you out. I don't know if people know this. Like, even after you've been accepted into a private school, if your parents write a letter, I don't know what they can do the following year, but if you're already in the school, private school, government school, if you write a letter to say you can't afford the school fees because of this and this, sometimes it will only work if you live in the area or if your parents work in the area. Once you've been accepted, it's illegal to kick a child out the school. So I never saw this written anywhere, but the teachers did explain that to us. You can't kick children out, even if they don't live in the area. Because remember, we used to do those census, like raise your hand up if you stay between 0 and 5 kilometers of the school. 0, obviously, if your father was the caretaker. 5, if you lived in the same street as the school. Then they said everyone from 5 to 10, then everyone from 10 to 20, everyone 25 and above. Those 25 and above kids, proud to raise their hands, but everyone looked down on them. Like, why are you all coming here to our school and causing nonsense here? Because also the naughty kids, some of the time. So, people from Soweto, don't worry, don't pay. Let us have load shedding for a few months. Let us learn how to be conservative. You'll never, when when the DA finished the water in Cape Town, and they resorted to the equivalent of load shedding in Cape Town. Who said what? No, it was necessary. They had to do it. Hey, those people knew. Those people knew from long that there was gonna be no water. But who they gonna blame all the time? When there's something goes wrong in the perfectly run city, they're gonna blame the ANC. Don't worry, I'm not voting ANC or DA. I don't think. So I'm not on anyone's side. I'm not against anyone. So when DA decided to do load shedding on water, you'll never complained that was what had to happen. There's too many people. We are catering to a lot more people than than what we had to a few years ago. So keep up. I got water here with me. Make me feel very professional, because when you talk too much and your spit becomes sticky. So you need some water. Some water. No, man. Load shedding is like a cock joke that is not worth being made. If you agree with me, hit like. Also, I'm sure now it's time for the butterfish story. So I was farting oil and shitting oil on Human Rights Day, but in order to understand the story, I need to take you back a little bit. I think November last year, I went to the small town, Mossel Bay, fly to George, drive to Mossel Bay, half an hour. Like, I almost died a few times trying to take pictures of the sea while I was driving. Bad idea. I don't think the Mosley video had come out at that time. So I had to MC a gig. I had to MC this gig in Mossel Bay for like a year-end function, long service awards type of thing. And I got there a bit early, and you know what you do when you go to a coastal place, you have to have fish from one of the local restaurants there. Because if you didn't have fish, you wasted your time. You had no reason to be there. Got there, this white owned restaurant. I felt a bit uneasy, but you know, when you walk into these white places, you must be a bit, you must walk in with confidence so they know they're not going to try nothing with you. So, even got served by the manager because the waitresses there were too busy up and downing. And I asked this guy to suggest, I think I even had starters. Hey man, I had starters. I asked this guy to suggest something to me. He suggested butterfish. It's really nice. I was like, okay, cool. And I like trying stuff I haven't tried before, so that I at least know that I don't like something. Had the butterfish, best fish I've ever tasted in my life. And unlike butter chicken, butterfish naturally tastes like butter. Butter chicken, you have to put like 1.5 kgs of butter in that thing. This thing naturally tastes buttery. Best fish I've ever had was chips as a side because I just fried the thing in like lukewarm oil. So the thing was drenched in oil. But the fish, God, finished that fish, ran back to the hotel in the rain. Best time of life. I emceed the gig. It was terrible because some people did not appreciate me. That being said, I don't know. I don't think I have the vibe of someone who can entertain closer people, especially as a group. Fine, did the thing, went out that night, came back in the morning, flew back home early in the morning, and had a braai with friends later that night. I'm playing with one of my friend's kids, and I don't know, we're kicking a ball or something, and I was sitting on the couch, and then just decided to fart a little bit. But like 2 minutes, 3 minutes later, while I'm playing with the kid, no one knew I farted, and I did not fart on the kid at all. But while I'm playing with the kid, I start to smell something, or the smell of that smell is not going away, and I know it definitely wasn't me. And I suggest to the room that someone might have shat themselves, and obviously I'm trying to hint to the parents that like, hey, I think your kid shit themselves. Little did I know, it was me. So as soon as 2 minutes go by, I keep on smelling it, even though like the kid is up and downing, but the smell is like constant. Like, yeah, man, there's no way that was me. Went to the toilet, checked for evidence, and boom, it looked like someone just dropped olive oil in my underpants. And a lot of it. Hey, man. Not understanding, I thought maybe I sat on something and I smelled this thing. Hey, man, this thing is oil. It's orange. Like, hey, man. Then I decided, okay, cool. Played cool. And I farted again. It came out again. Shocked. So I decided I'm going to sit down. I'm going to fart like over the bowl and see what's happening. When I looked down, it was like, I don't know if you've ever baked wors in the oven. Like, you know how much oil that thing releases? You know, you take the oil, the pan of wors out. That's how that bowl looked, with like a piece of wors and a lot of droplets of orange oil. I don't know. I think that's just, it's similar like when you're having Scott's emulsion, or what is that other one that used to go with Scott's emulsion, also in the orange bottle. Like omega-3 things, bro. Shed oil, confused, lost, didn't want to let anyone know. Luckily, I still had all my clothes with me from the airport because I hadn't been home yet. So I changed everything, went into the other room, changed, put that clothes in my bag. Fine. But I didn't stop. But now I had to roll up toilet paper and pad my underpants with it. And like in that moment, I just realized like how I realized like one more element that makes it difficult for a woman to have a period, because like I was so self-conscious. Like, hey, is this thing not leaking? Hey, no one can anyone see? Can anyone smell? Is this like padding that I created by myself like good enough? Like, yo. And it even crossed my mind because I really wanted a pad. I think like a pad would have been the best thing to sort that thing out. Just to like regain my confidence and to be able to go out into the world and be myself. I went out to comedy that night, but luckily I was like well padded, so I could just chill, carried on drinking. Went home. Even the next day, I thought it was finished. Boom, farted again, threw my underpants. I sat on a towel just in case. Leaked onto the towel, big orange spot in the towel. Scared. I'm Googling now. I farted oil. What does it mean? Why did I fart oil? And like, I'd rather search Google flat and even go up to the 6th tab before I go to a doctor and explain like, bruh, I think there's something wrong with me. I'm farting oil. I don't know why. Google this thing for long, and I still couldn't figure out what it was. Eventually, I come across this long article, and this lady's explaining exactly what happened. Till she realizes, like a week in, and she's been eating butterfish the whole week. She realizes a week in, the only thing different in her diet was this butterfish of hers. And she's been farting oil every single day. Imagine how scary that is. I wonder what she used. I wonder if she used a pad or tissue. I can't remember. That being said, very much worth it. That's the best fish I've ever had. Cut to the 20th of March, day before Human Rights Day. This was last year now. Moving to this year. Got to a gig. Before we went on stage to perform, they asked us to order mains. So there was a fish option, there was rump, there was steaks, there was vegetarian, there was halal, all these things. Cool. Choose fish of the day because like it's rare that I have fish and I like different things. Got off stage, they brought us our food, and guess what fish they served? Butterfish. And I'm explaining to everyone what happened to me while they're eating. People are gagging and asking me to stop, but I was just warning people like, hey, for those of you with butterfish, no, just no. So I had one of the best times on stage, and I love butterfish, so I ate it. So a day later, public holiday, March 21st, I was nursing. My period of farting oil. And apparently in the story, the thing that causes people to fart oil or from that fish, apparently I don't know if it's a ketone or an ester, but it's an organic compound that your body can't break down. So it breaks down everything else around it, and what's left is this oily substance that it just passes through with the rest of everything. I must say I handled it well and didn't last as long. I think my body has built up a tolerance for it. There's a story of me shitting my pants with oil. I have funny as shit stories, but that I'll have to have a reason to bring that up. Okay, that's me. I hope you guys had a lovely day celebrating the fallen heroes from Sharpeville and anyone else who may have died in the struggle or in protest fighting for our freedom. Thank you. That's it. It's very short. Please do listen. My podcast is on a couple of platforms at the moment. I managed to get it on iTunes. There's iTunes podcasts. It's on YouTube. It's on Iono and on SoundCloud. So that's where you can find my podcast. Please like, comment, share. Let me know what you think. If there's anything you'd like to comment on what I said, if you disagreed with anything. So basically, this is just like a therapy session for me, where I can speak, I can disagree with people, I can have free thought, and I'm very open to other people's ideas conflicting with mine, and we can have like a nice and lively discussion. Um, Please do comment. Your comments could inspire future episodes of my podcast. But if you're still listening, thank you and enjoy your day.